So what were we talking about with Skittles?
You had a mouthful of Skittles. Why you were?
What's wrong with me eating Skittles on the podcast?
So we talk, and when you have a mouthful of Skittles, it's gonna sound terrible.
No, it doesn't. Then one time it sounded bad.
Do you do this often?
He doesn't
No.
eat Skittles often. He's been complaining
then what-
about eating too much candy, but now he's eating Skittles on pod.
Ben also can't stay away from sweet, sugary treats.
He needs those sweet little treats. That's
you ever
why.
see him wolf down Tic Tacs?
Oh,
It's incredible. I've never seen anybody eat Tic Tacs like you. I was not introduced to this.
I've become best friends with them.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm festive.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Dear Hollow Heroes. And as always, I'm here with Meek Man Liam Meekum
What's going on, guys?
and Robespierre Rob Kelly.
I have a tummy ache, but I'm being so brave about it.
You are so brave, Rob. Wait, tummy ache?
Yeah, like my tummy aches.
Well,
Are you confused about what a tummy ache is?
no, but like I don't hear tummy ache that often nowadays.
That's because I'm being so brave about
He
it.
is being brave.
You are being brave.
Can't take that away from him.
Yep. They always give the toughest warriors the strongest I ruined
Yep,
it. I ruined it.
You got it.
I ruined it. Let's go to the top story. So, the Los Angeles Clippers have fallen to the 4th seed after being the number 1 seed a little bit ago, but the team went through a whole entire rebrand. That's right, a mid-season rebrand. They changed the logo
And the jerseys.
And the jerseys. Unbelievable. But another news, Nikola Jokic had a perfect shooting game, and he also got a triple-double in it. So, I think he's doing pretty well. I don't know about you, for a chance at a third MVP. And yet they sit at the 3rd seed. And along with the Mavs, who had a 7-game winning streak, and the Suns being filled with superstars, and they're in the 6th and 6th seed, with the Timberwolves and the Thunder being so young, and we're not fully sure what we're going to see out of them in the postseason, which of these playoff experienced teams do you see taking the Western Conference crown?
That's tough.
That is tough, but before we get into that question, I just want to point out something. Liam, did you learn something about the Los Angeles Clippers this week?
Nope.
No? You didn't learn anything?
Didn't
about
learn
the
anything.
team? Really?
Always knew everything about him.
Yeah,
Yep.
Even that a Clipper is a ship? You didn't learn that this week?
Theoretically, I'm sure someone out there
I
did
am
not know
missing
that a
something.
Clipper was not a ship.
I'm missing something
Did
here.
anyone know that a Clipper was a ship?
I knew that a Clipper was a ship.
Yeah, because you took sailing lessons for like 12 years.
You took sailing lessons?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that, actually.
You've heard of sailing lessons?
No, I heard that he took like boating school
Oh.
or something like that.
Yeah.
I just now know it was sailing lessons.
Yeah.
Ben, did you know a Clipper was a ship?
No, who knows that?
Thank-
Nobody.
thank you.
Nobody knows that. I'm
How can I
sorry,
be
Rob, but
expected
nobody
to
knows
know
that.
And I want to.
I barely know Bow and Stern. I
I thought they were like hairdressers or something. I don't know.
See, I didn't
Okay,
even know that.
I did not think that's what the Clippers were.
I didn't even know that from the sailing school. I knew that from old Irish folk songs that talked about sailing.
That is so on brand.
That's what we do. But I can't get too mad because I'm also the kind of guy that just knows fun facts and makes you guys feel stupid that you don't know the thing that I learned 10 minutes ago.
And it took you 12 minutes to get that sentence out. So yeah, you're the smartest guy in the room, Ben.
Usually, but still. Which of
man
these
who-
Western Conference teams do we think are
Oh
going to
yeah, I forgot we were talking about that. I also have a point to make about the Clippers. How crazy is it that they, for the first time, were like, oh, we might be good. Let's do a full rebrand. Let's tear it all down.
Let's start over.
Yeah.
Let's actually look good this
Like
time.
for the first time since like Lob City, they were like, "Oh, this might be a year where we're good," and then we're like, "Yeah, we're not the same old Clippers anymore."
But not before the season when they had aspirations
Oh,
and
yeah.
kind of expectation. Now it's mid-season,
Yeah.
and they're like, guys, now's the
Boat.
time.
even they didn't know if they were going to work out.
Like this could
Like,
be a
look
bad
at-
season.
Look at the combinations of players we got and tell us if this is supposed to work out.
Dicey.
Yeah, exactly.
Dicey.
Just like the seas if you're on a Clipper ship.
Oh my god,
The worst.
You're
The
brutal.
worst.
You're a brutal human being.
Let's
today.
talk about basketball.
Okay, just to stay on the Clippers.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about how they might perform in the postseason, right?
Yep.
They're a good team, but they also have a lot of stars who can perform in the postseason, who have experience in it, not necessarily going all the way, but
Notoriously not going all the
Exactly.
way, actually. Aside from Kawhi.
Aside from Kawhi. But, you take pieces like that, there's always that potential of, well, these guys all have experience, and Kawhi is the one who has that taste in his mouth of, this is what it feels like.
Yeah.
And, sometimes people will say, it's like, those who've already won it more because it is one of the most natural highs you will ever get as an athlete.
Fair enough. I like the Clippers' experience, but they're not the only team with experience.
No.
My bet to come out of the West, if we're talking about championship experience, it's the best player on earth right now. It's Nikola Jokic. Yeah. I mean, come on. How do you bet against the Nuggets?
They're of course very top heavy though, because they rely.
Well, they have a decent bench.
They have a decent bench, but I feel like they're also they rely so much on Murray and Jokic.
It's not even Murray, because Murray without Jokic is not Murray.
Yeah, exactly.
But playoff Murray, it's a different story.
But
He's another guy who elevates.
We did technically say this last year. If you just shut down Nikola Jokic, you can win and beat this team.
You can't shut down
but
Jokic.
You can't shut him down. It's like it's impossible. Like he will find a way to play. Okay, Rob, don't worry. My opinion did not matter, dude. It's just
the only way to
whatever.
beat Nikola Jokic, and I know this is going to sound it's going to sound obvious. That's what it's going to sound. But you have to outscore him. That's the only way, because he's going to get his points. He's going to get his assists. He's going to get his boards. But the one aspect where he's not as good is defensively. You have to just keep putting up points and keep pace with him.
Yeah, bully him. But he'll be like, okay, get all your points, and then I know that I need to get this many points.
Yeah.
But that's what's scary is he's just okay with that.
Yeah.
But the other team that I want to shout out a little bit, I think with the Thunder and the Timberwolves, they're both playing out of their minds so well. They're just going to get out experience.
The problem is the same for both teams.
They're going to get out experienced.
I think the Thunder have a better shot.
I agree because they're more of a complete team.
I agree.
But with the other teams that are out there, I think the Dallas Mavericks are something to be concerned about because they're kind of finding a rhythm and they're playing really good basketball. The problem is when defenses start happening because you got to remember they're very offensive heavy. Luka, Kyrie, they finally figured it out, something that we never thought would happen. They kind of found their own way together. But
okay, they've won. They've had a good stretch. Let's not overreact.
But if this builds, again, we've seen teams with good stretches that it could build, and this is the time where you start to hit winning streaks at this time of year. Starts to become more than just let's not overreact. True. It starts to be they're getting hot right before the postseason.
It's still not right before the postseason.
I know, but like if
the next wave of hot teams is where I start to get interested.
Okay, but still,
because this isn't pre postseason getting hot. This is post All-Star break getting hot, right? Which is very different in every sport that has the All-Star break in the middle of the year. The teams that get hot after the actual All-Star break itself typically do nothing. I mean, we saw it last year in baseball where the Cincinnati Reds were the hottest team after the All-Star break, and people were like, oh, they might make the postseason. And then the second half of that,
Yeah, but you also look at that team, and there's a lot of youth.
Yeah, but that's not, but that's kind of where I'm going with this.
No, I agree.
All because you're hot right after the break doesn't mean much. That means your team needed the rest.
I see. But I think what's really interesting is we're not mentioning teams with Kevin Durant and LeBron James in the Western Conference that much. I feel like the Suns have definitely a better shot.
The Suns are dangerous.
The Suns are dangerous, and they have a shot. They get hot in the coming months, then they're gonna probably be really dangerous coming into the postseason. But the other team is the Lakers are kind of the opposite story here. We thought the Lakers, we've been wanting them to be a winning team. Everybody kind of feels like this is going to be a year. They have LeBron, but they just can't put it together. They just can't find the missing piece. And sometimes you point the finger at the supporting cast. Sometimes you point the finger at Anthony Davis. It's just kind of crazy how a team that probably should be in the mix here is not. And everyone keeps forgetting about the Suns, who really are in the mix.
Well, did you see that LeBron James now is projected to sign a multi-year deal for like $40 million a year again?
Again?
Yeah.
With the Lakers?
He wants to sign with the Lakers. That's, again, all very early projections. But if I'm LeBron James, haven't you made enough money in your career? At this point, there should be 2 goals in your career. One is to play with your son. We've always known that was his goal. Should still be his goal. 2, don't you want to be the greatest of all time? How do you become the greatest of all time? You take $20 million in salary, put $20 million towards getting another all-star player, and work that way. Why are you filling up your cap space just to make more money when you have more money than anybody?
Not everyone has that kind of mentality. It feels like
But-
anymore in the NBA.
But
especially the NBA.
think about what LeBron's goals are.
And it's not.
I gave you 2 of LeBron's
here's
goals.
the thing, winning isn't. It just doesn't feel like winning matters as much to the NBA anymore. I feel like stats matter more to the players, at least, not the fans.
but here's the
But I
thing.
feel like stats have been a big deal towards the players, and then of course I'm going to hear like, no, we want a championship, we want a championship. But they're not playing like they want a championship. Regular season games are treated like just exhibitions. It's botched that word, but they're just I really did. But regular season games aren't taken seriously, and it's just kind of like to the last 2 weeks towards the postseason they start to actually play.
Yes, but I don't think you can blame wanting a championship for playing the regular season like an exhibition game, because everyone's doing it because there's no defense and you just got to score. And the thing about having the counting stats like points, assists, rebounds, points per game, whatever it may be, LeBron has those. He has most of those.
Easily.
It's time for Quote of the Week. All right, guys, so we're going to stick to the NBA. And with LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry all in the latter half of their careers, the question of who will be the new face of the league has been on the minds of the majority of the NBA community. Jason Tatum was recently asked about whether or not his name should be considered for such a prestigious honor. I feel like it's mine to take, Tatum said. I do feel like if we win a championship, it would be more distinguished and clear, but I understand I'm on that short list for sure. So, what do you guys think about what Tatum said? Do you think that he could be a face of the league? And also, I think there's one thing I really want to address here is, do you like that he said that?
Okay, that's kind of where I was going to go. Is the weird thing about being the face of a league is, one, as a player, it's not your choice, right? It comes down to who do the fans like and who is producing. Those are the 2 main factors.
And it's producing for a long time.
Yes, and it's not like, some rookie all of a sudden is going to become the face of the league.
Maybe Derrick Rose.
Yes, maybe Derrick Rose, but do you think if Derrick Rose had 2 healthy knees, he'd be the face of the league now, or would it be LeBron?
It'd be LeBron.
Okay. So, but the thing with him kind of saying that is, I like the it's mine to take aspect of it, because you're saying, I know I'm good, but I have to do more, and I have to go out and get it.
I do appreciate he said that.
Yes. But it's like, I know I'm on that short list, it could be mine type of aspect. It's like, face of the league doesn't mean anything if you're not, going out there producing. But at the same time, it doesn't add to your stats. It doesn't help your team. The only thing it helps is jersey sales, maybe ticket sales.
Legacy.
Yeah, LeBron's going to be known as the face of the league.
I mean, this is the LeBron era.
It is. Okay.
There was a Kobe era. There was a Jordan era.
But do you think we can call what comes next the Tatum era?
No. It won't be a Tatum era. The only player that I think there's maybe 2 that realistically could do it right now. And I'm not talking like, we obviously could see like Wemby or Chet like break out, and those could be the guys. Whatever. We're not talking about them. I'm talking about guys that could be right now. Jokic and Antetokounmpo.
Yeah. I was going to say Giannis, you could argue that we're in the Giannis era because...
I think we're in the Jokic era.
Yeah, but you could also argue we're in the Jokic era.
We're going to see 3 MVPs from him.
True. And
should be 4.
Giannis is right there every single year as well. So it's between these 2 at the moment, and I think that's a huge deal.
You know what Tatum has on his resume? Known choker. That's what he has on his resume so far. Has fantastic teams every year, top to bottom, great coaching, historic organization. Everything that could be going right for Tatum is going right, aside from playoff success.
Now, a thing that helps Tatum but would hurt Jokic is market. Now, I understand, the Denver Nuggets, they're not a small team, but it's still the Denver Nuggets compared to the Boston Celtics.
True.
And especially in a sport of basketball, the Boston Celtics, just playing for that team, gives you an uplift.
And think about their style of play, too. Heavily favors Tatum as well. But that's where I think Antetokounmpo takes the advantage there, is people want to see scoring. People want to see exciting plays. Jokic, I mean, they're great plays, but you have to appreciate Jokic's style of play. He's not going to go out there and he's not going to bully somebody. He's not going to cross somebody up. He's not going to dunk on anybody. What he's going to do is he's going to play the game the right way. He's going to make some fantastic passes, and he's going to get his points. Another thing that hurts Jokic is he does not seem to care. He doesn't seem to care.
No. He wants to go race his horses
He
and go home.
He's not concerned.
Jokic is not going to be the face of the league.
Which normally I would hate, but if you're playing at this high of a level and you still don't care, good for you. Good for you.
That just means you're better than everyone else, and you're just like, I'm just doing this as my 9 to 5. I just want to go home.
He goes home, races horses, and drinks a 2-liter of Coke every night. And he comes out of shape in the preseason, figures it out during the season, and then wins an MVP and a championship.
Jokic will not be the face of the league because he doesn't want to. And Giannis should be the face of the league right now if you had to give it to someone right now. I mean, you could also argue Steph Curry because he's still not that far into the ladder. But
I think Steph's shot is over.
I think if we're counting this as like, LeBron, KD, we have to clump Steph in there too, just because he's been around for so long.
You can group those players together.
I would say Steph over KD in a way. Because,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
But
either way, it's LeBron's era.
It is. But going to what he said, where's the humility? Like there was none. And it makes him so just I don't want to root for him.
Well, he's a Celtic, so I never rooted for him. So maybe I'm a little bit skewed.
FBA.
I don't mind the Celtics, but it just makes me it leaves such a sour taste with myself and that team. I'm not rooting for them anymore because I'm like, that's your superstar, and also your superstar who was nowhere to be found when the underdog Warriors kicked them out of the postseason. Where were you when the 7-seeded Heat almost beat you in the Eastern Conference Finals? You got lucky that Jimmy missed a wide open 3 that probably you should have been defending. I don't know for sure.
Talk about losing last year at home in Game 7.
And you lost last year against, I think, the Heat as well, right?
Yeah.
You lost to the Heat
How about
twice.
2020?
You lost to the Heat twice. Ooh, an 8-seeded Heat twice. The Heat were the 8th seed twice, and you lost to them. So you may say, oh, they have our number. But at the end of the day, you almost lost to a team that just was hot. When you're the dominating team in the conference, you couldn't beat them more than only once, and you got lucky that you beat them in Game 7 that once, and you were nowhere to be found when the underdog Warriors beat you. So if you're going to say, yes, you do need a championship to be the face of the league, but where is your humility? Where is I would like to be the face of the league one day, and I will do what I have to do to get there. Not I'm on the short list. I'm already there. I need to take that next step. No. You're not there. No one should say I'm there. And I don't like that. And the lack of humility makes people so you don't want to root for him at all.
I never rooted for him. So.
Well, I know you never did. You're probably loving every second of this rant. but it's like if I just went on a Justin Fields hate rant, you'd just be
I don't like him either.
I love it.
Well, I don't dislike him. I just don't like his play.
True. But I think it's a lack of humility, which is just is not a good look for any player or the league itself. So I think that was a bad way to talk about facing Jason Tatum's part.
Yeah, part of it is sports media is so aggressive. It feels like now more than ever when it comes to asking questions to players too. Like asking a player, do you think you're the face of the league or you could be the face of the league once LeBron retires? Now, I understand why they would ask that question because you want the clicks. You want the
Sure,
bait.
it's a tricky question.
They've been asking these types of questions. They haven't been getting harder or more difficult. These questions have been asked since the 70s.
But either way,
60s.
it's a tricky question.
Yeah, it is.
You have to navigate
it's a trap
it.
question.
But have we not seen so many players before him give the right answer?
Yeah, but because there's media training for these players. They're superstars. They get media training. It's
so
part of
where
the
was
deal.
Tatum's?
He didn't use it. It's on him for not using the training he was given. Or it's on the Celtics for not giving him the training. But people are media trained. It's supposed to happen. You're supposed to be prepared for the media because the media, since the dawn of them talking to athletes, are looking to put in trap questions to get them to say something that they didn't want to say, to actually get the truth. Because the art of media and player is the player saying nothing, saying things that mean nothing, and the media is trying to switch that into getting actual details. And it's just a constant war between the two. And Tatum should be one of the number one, if not the best, at dealing with that. He's the superstar of the team. That's just how it is.
In one of the biggest markets. If in like the biggest market.
Yeah. So for him cracking like that is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The only person that got away with it is Russell Westbrook because he went, bruh, like stuff like that, he got away with.
Well, there's been plenty of players that have done it.
Yeah, and they've sometimes got away with it, but most of the time you get in trouble for actually cracking. It's time for the burning questions. Are we back to this bit?
We never left.
The overhead point.
All right, guys, let's go to the first one. You are a GM in the MLB. How much would you guys give Blake Snell, Matt Chapman, or JD Martinez?
Okay, I was told to make this concise and I immediately blanked. Sorry.
I had all
I'm
these
sorry.
thoughts.
It's
and
just
now-
because it's insane that 3 studs are still unsigned at the start of spring training. They all have the same agent, Scott Boras.
It's no
Shout out
Boris.
Scott Boris.
It
Boris.
is. Okay, I'm going to start with Blake Snell. 2-time Cy Young winner, one in the American League, one in the National League, 31 years old. Sure, not on the younger side, but still worth a multi-year deal as a multiple Cy Young Award winner. That does not happen often. He deserves somewhere between, I'd say, $32 to $37 million a year, if not 40, depending on your team, for at least 4 to 5 years.
I don't know if I would sign him to length,
Yeah, I wouldn't sign him.
but
at
I would
all.
I would shore up.
31?
I would maybe swing him a little bit more money and give him a 2 to 3.
Yeah.
No, he deserves more than 2 or 3.
Yeah, but
He's proven himself.
The arm can go though.
But
At
31,
31.
I agree. I can't help but think that the arm
So
might go.
what I would do is Blake Snell, short-term contract on a contender to bring in some help. JD Martinez, kind of the same deal. You can pay him a lot of money. Make sure that contract's short. Matt Chapman baffles me. He should have a good contract like he deserves. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
There's no way.
Matt Chapman is a 2-time platinum gold glove third baseman.
In his
which is-
20s.
Yeah, well, he just turned 30.
But still.
But he's still a good bat. And that might not be a great bat, but when he's hot, he is fuego. And he deserves at least a 7-year deal. Maybe not a $40 million a year guy, but like max it out at 35, maybe 30, $30 million a year. And the fact that none of these guys are signed yet is insane. Spring training has started. They are playing games. But a 2-time Cy Young, 2-time Platinum Gold Glove, and a perennial All-Star in JD Martinez, they're all just unsigned? How?
Now, would you rather have him on a rebuilding team as a cornerstone piece, or would you rather have him shore up a hole in a contender?
Shore up a hole in a contender for both Snell
I think
and
Chapman-
JD.
I
And
think-
Chapman you can go and get.
Yeah.
I think if I was a GM in the league, I would instantly go for Matt Chapman unless I had a top-tier third baseman. I don't know how they're not going for him. And if
He's got to be asking for too much.
yeah, and if
That's the Scott Boras aspect of it all.
And-
Scott Boras is one of those predators of a agent.
And if I was a GM, I'd give Snell. I agreed with you on Snell, and I'd do it with JD Martinez too. If I need that position, or if I want to upgrade 2 to 3 years, give a bunch of money and just shore it up that you got like a championship run. But if I don't have any championship aspiration, I'm not getting that.
Especially with no salary cap in baseball.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not like it's gonna. You have to pay out of pocket as an owner, of course, but it's not gonna affect your team in the long run signing new players.
Yeah. And speaking of spring training that you mentioned earlier, what would you guys look for if you're an MLB team into spring training? Because it just got into the swing of things. What is the thing as a fan? What are you looking to see for spring training?
Like from the players?
Yeah. Like, what are you looking for in spring training? Like, would you say it's more important that you find if they're getting their swing going, if they...
Okay,
seem
so
like they're
something
healthy?
I always look for in a player during spring training is their strikeout numbers. If their strikeout numbers are really high, that's a problem. Now, that doesn't mean their batting average has to be good. If they are making contact with the ball and getting out every time, I think that is a much better look than striking out every time in spring training. Because the purpose of spring training is finding your swing again. And if you're making contact with the ball at least, you found something.
True. I think sometimes we overestimate what the swing is in spring training, though. I like to look at a lot of defense, a lot of how the team is meshing with each other, because I think throughout the season you're going to find your swing. It's going to come in and out sometimes. It's going to happen. But if you're playing well on defense, you're meshing with the team, especially newer guys, younger guys, I think that's the most important part of spring training.
I like to look to see their health. That's why I brought it up, because I really think that, there's so many players. Like, for example, if you're a Yankee fan, you're looking at Giancarlo Stanton, who's now a lot less weight. You're wondering, can he hold up? Because he gets hurt a lot. You look at, if you are on a team with an aging veteran, is this guy going to be able to play 162 games? It's something that spring training kind of shows that. How hard are they running? How hard are they playing? Because sometimes you wonder, like, is he kind of taking it slow because he's nervous he's going to get hurt? So I really look towards the injury aspect a lot in spring training. How are they taking care of the player?
3 different answers there.
Yeah. But speaking of new approaches, as we've been a GM, we've been a fan, we're going to go back to GM, and we're going to switch, and we're going to go to the NFL. The NFL just announced on, I think, last Friday that they broke the record for the biggest salary cap increase. I think it's around over $30 million can go towards players this coming off season. And as a NFL GM, how would you go about this extra $30 million? Because during COVID, it was actually going down, which has never happened before. So now it just skyrocketed up this year. So how would you go about it if you guys were NFL GM?
Well, you have to be careful because you're going to see a lot of money come at you really quick, and you're going to want to spend it all on a long-term salary for a good player. But what you have to be careful of is you don't want to overextend yourself, because you can't rely on the money to be coming in like this every year. It's not going to increase like this every year. So you have to stay manageable. You have to shore up holes with short-term contracts, which you can overpay on a little bit. And then later on down the road, you're not going to end up hurting yourself financially. If you dump all of this money into players right now, you could see yourself getting hurt down the road, similar to like a Daniel Jones type contract where, what do we do now?
Something I like about this, though, is, not every team hits the cap limit every year, right? And some teams do. Some teams kind of go over and have to pay that tax. But the thing with like a jump this high, $30 million, that's a stud player that you could pay. Now, there are some teams that, they were probably just looking for the money and they just needed one good superstar-like player. And this is going to help them, especially if they are in a win-now scenario where they're not trying to rebuild. So this is really helping teams like that where like, okay, yeah, we can sign a guy. Or if it is a team that is more middle of the pack, they're like, we could sign 2 or 3 guys to really shore up one side of the ball or the other.
What's interesting, actually? I actually think the free agency will be more dead this offseason than we've seen because of the salary increase. I think we're going to see a lot of teams retaining players because now they have the money to. They can throw a salary cap on a franchise tag on a guy because they have the cap to do it. They can re-sign a guy. They don't have to restructure so many people to keep certain people. So I think we actually see less players go into free agency.
Sticking with that point, I think with this new salary cap increase, I think the position that benefits the most, if it goes according to plan, and it relies heavily on the Giants, is the running back position. Running backs have been getting severely underpaid and struggling to get their money. And with the salary cap increase, there is going to be a shot that we might get some higher salaries for running backs, and that's something I thought about. And I think
we have a lot of them hitting free agency.
Yes, and I think it all starts with the potential re-signing of Saquon Barkley that I think has already started, and they're in talks. If Saquon Barkley gets a pretty hefty contract, then it could really once again fix the running back market and show value to a very important position in football, in my opinion. I don't understand why they were struggling to get their money. So I think it once again could help the running back position. I think that's if all goes according to plan. If Saquon either doesn't get a contract from the Giants or it all messes itself up, then it all changes. But I think running backs are going to be a big thing to look at this offseason because of the salary cap increase.